Valeria Terlin, Book Series, The Living Tarot. This series is a step-by-step journey into the world of tarot, built on clarity, logic, and the deep structure behind the cards. From the history and philosophy of tarot to practical spreads, symbolic systems, and even teaching tarot to others. Each book helps you form a complete understanding of tarot as a universal language of symbols. Book 1. Tarot as a Path. Meaning, History, and Origins of Tarot. This is your very first meeting with tarot, like taking a first step into a new world. Here we discuss symbols and archetypes and the subtle mechanism behind why tarot feels so accurate. Instead of memorizing fixed meanings, this book invites you to discover the philosophy behind tarot and to understand what intuitive reading truly is. We explore the history of the cards, untangle myths and fears, and most importantly, begin to feel that tarot is not fortune-telling. It is a language, a way the universe speaks to us. Introduction. Tarot has always attracted people with its mystery and the promise of answers to the questions that matter most. For centuries, fortune tellers with bright scarves and colorful clothes were part of fairground life, and this image became firmly rooted in collective memory. But time passed, and the cards did not disappear. They survived through centuries and gradually became an important part of spiritual practice. Through tarot, people learn to read symbols and signs, to look beyond what is obvious. Tarot became a universal channel, a living language that speaks to us without words, using images, intuition, and associations. All the power of tarot lies in its imagery. These images speak a universal language, understood by those who can see them, regardless of time, place, culture, or language. Tarot symbols address the subconscious directly. They awaken memories, emotions, and instinctive knowing. Wherever words fail, a tarot card gently opens a door into the inner world, revealing something that had been hidden from sight. In this way, tarot becomes a bridge between the mind and inner wisdom, between logic and intuition. These cards are not just drawings on cardboard, they are mirrors that reflect the soul, and this is why they are capable of reconnecting a person with their intuition and helping them hear their inner voice. A tarot image is not merely a picture, it is a collection of symbols, a constellation of meanings. Together, they trigger a process inside us, like a key turning in a lock, opening the way to new sensations, insights, and understanding of oneself and others. For this reason, tarot cannot be reduced to a list of fixed definitions. A card comes alive only when you feel it, when a symbol resonates, when something within you responds. This first book is dedicated to that very place, to the question of where tarot came from, what history it carries, and why it remains so important for people today. We will speak not only about meanings, but about the relationship with the cards. It is not enough, for example, to memorize that the tower is connected with crisis. It is far more important to sense how its energy moves inside you, to understand what it is trying to say. Tarot invites us to look deeper, to see the causes of events, and to discover the hidden patterns behind them. That is why this book is not about correct answers, but about learning to hear the voice of the cards even before you fully learn their language. The entire Living Tarot series consists of 14 books. Each book can stand on its own, yet together they form a complete system, from the first steps and the discovery of symbols to practice, mastery, and eventually teaching tarot to others. Why is this book series different? Instead of dry definitions, you will find a living conversation. Sometimes it speaks in the form of a dialogue, sometimes through stories or simple, vivid examples. This makes it easier to feel the cards and understand how they speak to you. I intend not to teach you standardized meanings, but to help you learn how to see symbols and hear your inner voice. A card opens not through theory, but through sensation, through what you see, what you feel, and what question rises inside you. Tarot communicates through images, signs, dreams, and synchronicities. It is a language that is always near, always responding. Learning here is not like a school with exams. It is more like a journey. There is freedom to try, to sense, and to explore your own impressions. And the truest compass in this journey will be your inner response. The first rule is simple: trust yourself. The Living Tarot series reveals the cards as the language of the soul. You become part of this knowledge, continue it, and create your own living experience with tarot. What awaits you in this book series? Throughout this series, you will discover tarot as a complete, living language rather than a collection of separate card meanings. You will begin to understand what tarot truly is and, just as importantly, what it is not. Tarot is not fortune-telling, fear, or superstition. It is a symbolic system that reflects the inner landscape of the human soul, and in these books you will meet tarot in its clear, honest, and authentic form. Gradually, you will learn the essence of intuitive reading, how it works, why the cards so often strike the heart, and what actually awakens inside you when you look at an image. You will see that a tarot card is not something to memorize, but something to feel. Tarot speaks through symbols, synchronicities, subtle impressions, and inner resonance, and you will gently learn to follow this language. As you move through the books, you will learn how to ask questions in a way that invites precise, meaningful answers. You will attune to your deck and begin to feel it as a genuine instrument of communication. You will step into a living, intuitive interaction with the cards, an interaction that replaces the stressful attempt to memorize fixed definitions. Not only that, but you will stop fearing mistakes and discover that tarot is learned not through perfection, but through presence, curiosity, and practice. You will begin to notice how outer events reflect inner states. You will touch upon the foundations of astrology and numerology. Likewise, you will walk the soul's journey through the 22 major arcana, explore the deeper layers of the suits, cups, wands, swords, and pentacles, and feel the court cards not as abstract figures, but as living psychological types. You will learn the inner structure of spreads and see how a card transforms depending on its position. You will watch how new meanings are born when cards interact with each other. Furthermore, you will understand how to offer tarot readings ethically, with respect for personal boundaries, and even how to teach tarot to others, not as a set of rules, but as a state of inner connection. You will encounter the history of tarot in a way it is rarely told. You will explore practices that develop awareness and sensitivity, because these qualities open the inner doorway to symbols, myths, and archetypes, the language our subconscious knows far better than words. Step by step, tarot will reveal itself to you as a tool of self-knowledge as much as a tool for guiding others. You will learn how tarot harmonizes with other systems, including the soul matrix. And above all, this series will help you find an inner foundation, the ability to trust your own wisdom. Tarot is not a path outward. Tarot is a path inward. Reading tarot spreads is an entire field of study. Every year, new books appear describing countless ways to interpret card combinations. But if you want to begin working with the cards themselves as soon as possible, you may skip ahead to the third book, The Major Arcana, The Path of the Soul. At any moment of your learning journey, you can return to the first two books, which reveal the origins, structure, and deeper philosophy behind the tarot system. These books are a unique project created to help you learn to read tarot and, even more importantly, to help you awaken your intuition and reconnect with yourself. Each book in this series uncovers one essential facet of the tarot, step by step, layer by layer. This idea was born from a desire to show the true depth and breadth of the tarot system, a meaning far greater than a set of definitions or interpretations. These books are not quite textbooks in the usual sense. They are more like an invitation into a world where intuition and symbols speak together, where images resonate with the inner voice, and where learning happens through experience rather than memorization. There will be no rigid academic terminology here, no lifeless diagrams or mechanical explanations. Instead, you will find space, real breathing space, where you can reflect, feel, inquire, and gently unfold. A space where tarot becomes not a subject you study, but a companion on your journey inward. Allow me to speak to you as you, intimately and simply, so our entire journey together feels like a conversation between friends. Through these pages, you will not only learn what tarot is, you will understand why you need it, or perhaps realize that you don't, and this is also important. But what if you are afraid of tarot? What if you feel the same uneasiness I once felt, the same fear that made me avoid the cards for years? Perhaps a part of you thinks tarot might harm you, or that it might reveal something frightening, or that it is better not to know at all. If any of these thoughts echo inside you, know this: you are not alone. Almost everyone who approaches tarot for the first time encounters an inner resistance, a tightening in the chest, a quiet anxiety, sometimes even fear. And this is completely natural. What matters most is understanding that fear is not your enemy. Fear is your guide. It shows you where something important is waiting to be discovered, where a new layer of truth wants to open, and where the soul is inviting you to take one small step deeper into yourself. Tarot does not create fear. It only touches the place where he already lives, quietly, inside. And through this touch, healing begins. Practical exercise: creating inner space for tarot. Purpose of the exercise: to gently dissolve fear and doubt before beginning your work with the cards. Instructions: take a sheet of paper and a pen. At the top of the page, write the sentence, "I am afraid of tarot because..." And now allow your hand to write whatever comes to mind. Do not analyze. Do not filter. Do not try to correct or justify anything. Simply let everything pour out onto the page, even if it seems strange, illogical, or childish. When the flow slows down and the page feels complete, read what you have written and ask yourself two questions. Which of these fears truly are mine? Which of them came from the outside, from other people's beliefs, opinions, or stereotypes? Underline the fears that don't belong to you and write beside them, "This is not mine, I release it." And for the fears that are truly yours, give them space to exist, but add, "I choose to learn and grow despite them." The result? This exercise helps you recognize that fear is not a barrier, but a signal, a place that asks for more clarity, confidence, and knowledge. It invites you to meet tarot not from tension, but from awareness, allowing your inner space to become open, honest, and ready. Fear is not a sign that tarot is dangerous. It is a sign that you are approaching something unknown, something capable of transforming you and perhaps your entire life. Tarot once entered my own life just as unexpectedly as it enters the lives of many people, not through a dramatic revelation, not through thunder or mystical visions, but through one simple reading. Whenever we stand at the threshold where the familiar ends and the unknown begins, our inner defenses naturally awaken. The conditioned mind, upbringing, social norms, all of them whisper, "Be careful, don't step into the unfamiliar." But it is precisely there, beyond the threshold, where the true journey begins, the meeting with yourself, with intuition, with your inner truth. I too was afraid of everything unknown and tried to keep my distance, but one day a friend of mine, troubled by her husband's behavior, suggested we visit a fortune teller who worked with tarot cards. She suspected him of infidelity. At that time, I was very young and newly married, and the very idea of betrayal felt distant, almost unreal to me. Still, I went with her, partly out of curiosity, partly to support her. Now I think that perhaps it was intuition calling me toward a path I could not yet see. As my friend began asking her questions, the fortune teller suddenly turned to me and said, "Let's start with you. Your friend needs to calm down first." She explained that when a person is too emotional or overwhelmed, it is better to let the storm inside settle before turning to the cards. Only then can the reading be clear, honest, and meaningful. I sat down. The fortune teller began asking her questions and laid the cards out on a beautiful cloth. I remember clearly how each card fell, one after another, as if guided by an unseen rhythm. For a moment, the whole world went silent. The images were so beautiful, so strikingly different, that it felt as if they began speaking to me. Or rather, it wasn't the cards speaking, it was me hearing a voice within, a quiet inner translator turning pictures into meaning. In that instant, I heard a soft call, like an inner whisper, and yet it was so clear, so unmistakably real. I dissolved into the images, into their colors, their scenes, their strange magnetic stillness. It felt as though I had stepped into another world. I stared silently at the illustrations, letting them carry me somewhere beyond ordinary reality. The surrounding voices faded, my friend, the fortune teller, gone. Everything inside fell into a deep, weightless quiet. And then suddenly, a thought, or perhaps a voice, reflected itself softly inside me. I startled, but I was not afraid. "What do you feel?" The question rose from within, gentle and familiar. "These cards feel alive. Why do I understand them when I know nothing about them?" "Because you are remembering them. This is a language you once knew. It returns to you through images." "But I'm just looking at these pictures. Why do I feel as if I already know what lies behind them?" "Because you can read between the lines. This is not knowledge from your mind. It is the wisdom and memory of your spiritual heart." Could the cards really know more than I did? Suddenly, the fortune teller spoke. "Your happiness will be short. You will end up alone." Her words struck me like cold water. My husband and I had recently married. I couldn't understand what was happening. It felt as if a fog wrapped itself around me. My friend had come to ask about her husband's possible affair, and I had come only to support her. I wasn't ready to hear anything about my own future. That was the first moment when I felt the power of tarot, something ancient, inexplicable, almost frightening. And then, softly, a voice rose inside me. "Life unfolds exactly as it must." "Who are you? My intuition or someone else?" I asked silently. "I am the voice that has always been here. You are simply ready to hear me now. I am your talisman. You may call me Talis. I do not control you. I accompany you. I help you." Why now? Why at this exact moment? I asked. Because you have come very close to the invisible door, the one for which tarot is the key. I did not understand what was happening, but inside me something softened. A calmness emerged, knowing that everything would be all right, a sense that I wasn't losing my mind, a realization that intuition wasn't mysticism, but an honest conversation with myself. And for the very first time, I believed that I could trust the voice within. That visit to the fortune teller changed everything. I was frightened. I didn't want to believe any of it. But her prediction came true, every word. And for many years, tarot became something I wanted to avoid, to run from and to hide from. I was afraid of the cards, not because they were dark, but because they had told the truth. What stands behind this fear? Sometimes it is a religious upbringing that labels anything esoteric as forbidden or dangerous. Sometimes it comes from movies, where tarot is shown as a tool of doom, death, or misfortune. And sometimes the fear is much more intimate, a fear of meeting our own shadow. Tarot, as a symbolic language, speaks directly to the subconscious, and that can be uncomfortable, because suddenly you begin to hear the voice you have been silencing for years. It took a long time before I returned to the cards, and when I did, something became clear. The cards do not decide anything for us. They do nothing to us. They do not predetermine our path, do not program our future, do not manipulate our fate. They simply reflect the inner, unspoken landscape of the soul. Not only that, but they are a mirror, and a mirror can frighten the one who is not ready to see themselves honestly. For a long time, I feared the cards and walked around them carefully like around a sleeping animal. But one day, fear turned into curiosity. Curiosity grew into interest, and interest transformed into trust. Since then, the cards have become my companions, my guides, and my teachers. My inner voice has never said, "This is the only right way." It simply whispers, "Listen a little deeper. Look again. Feel what truly lives beneath the surface." This is how this book series was born. Not from a desire to teach you, but from a quiet inner need to share what I have discovered, to lay everything out with clarity, to awaken your own inner voice. Every real learning begins not with information, but with a call from within. This call is difficult to put into words. It feels like a subtle movement inside the chest, a soft knowing that the time has come. From that moment on, your path begins, not toward the knowledge written in these books, but toward the understanding that rises from within you. Everything you read here will not be an instruction or rule, but an invitation to your own experience. Let these pages become a mirror in which you will not find ready-made answers, but find yourself. Let every encounter with a card, a symbol, an archetypal image awaken your intuition and the memory of your soul. Because true knowledge does not come from the outside. It awakens within you the moment you are ready to hear your own voice. Tarot is not fortune-telling. It is a conscious dialogue with yourself, with that quiet, hidden part of your soul that rarely speaks aloud. It is a conscious conversation with yourself, with your unconscious inner world. This is where its true value lies. The cards themselves are not frightening. What frightens us is the moment we dare to look at ourselves without masks. Tarot is the language that leads you back to yourself. It is not fortune-telling in a dim room with a crystal ball. It is a living conversation. Likewise, it is the courage to lose illusions. It is the honesty to see what you have avoided. Fear is not an enemy when you're willing to befriend it. It does not block the path, it points to where the path begins. Through tarot, you learn to hear yourself, not a voice from outside, not instructions from someone who knows better, but your own truth. You begin to distinguish reality from projection, desire from fear, intuition from anxiety. And if you are willing to listen even a little, and if somewhere inside you lives a question, the cards become a mirror. Not a mirror that tells you an answer, but a mirror that helps you find it within yourself. And that is the most precious gift tarot can offer. My inner voice has never said, this is the only correct way. It only gently suggests, listen more closely to yourself. Look at this situation one more time. This is how this book series was born, not from a desire to teach you, but from an inner need to share my own experience, to bring clarity, to awaken your inner voice. And notice this. Every true learning begins not with information, but with an inner call. This call is difficult to explain with words. It feels like a subtle movement inside, a quiet sense that the time has come. From this moment, your journey begins, not toward the knowledge contained in these books, but toward understanding that arises from within you. Everything you read here is not an instruction and not a rule, but an invitation to personal experience. May these pages become a mirror in which you see not just answers, but yourself. May every encounter with a card, a symbol, an image awaken your intuition and the memory of your soul. Because true knowledge does not come from the outside. It awakens from within when you are ready to hear your own voice.